Hello and welcome everybody to the 20th episode of All the Rage Sports. Here as always.
Yay!
And our 20th viewer.
Do something.
Maybe.
Our 20th viewer?
That is if
Could
Bill watches our episode 20 times. It's pretty much how we get 20 views. Thank you as always. I got my analysts with me here, Kevin Robinson, Andy Stewart, and the one and only Jace Junk. How are we all doing today? Are we excited?
To steal a line from our host here, I'm lovely.
I'm just lovely. So today we're going to talk about some of the coach moves that have already happened. It's got pretty hectic early, already some hires, a lot of fires. We're going to talk about some of those moves and the dynamics of what is going to happen in the league now and with these teams. One that comes to mind is John Dorsey being fired from the Browns along with Freddie Kitchens. That was a huge one. It was a very Browns move, and we're going to talk about that. We're also going to go over our games and see who is the winner of the season-long picks. We are also going to make some predictions about each wild card round game. And then we're also going to show our brackets of who is going to win the Super Bowl, our early predictions of that. So all that and more coming at you on All the Rage Sports. And
cue the dogs.
Yeah.
Every fucking time. I swear to God, they're going to be in our intro music next year.
You want me to shoot them?
Yeah.
You know, we talked about.
Yeah, when we cut Andy's section of it, it's just going to be Andy like, and then dogs barking.
Yeah.
That's all I'm here for.
I'm just here
Just
so I don't
here
get fined.
And the
Just here
dogs
for
have
the
something to
dog
bark at.
noises, yeah.
So, week 17 kind of ended up being uneventful for a lot of those wild card teams that needed a lot of shit to happen. Tennessee won, got in. And then the Eagles won, got in. So that was pretty much the gist of it. There wasn't a ton of moving around in the NFC like we kind of expected. The only thing that kind of was surprising that KC moved up to the second seed and knocked the Patriots down to the third for the first year in a while, I believe. They're not getting a bye. So that's something.
I was at my grandmother's with the big redhead Jason, who was very, very happy during all these goings-ons.
And if he does watch this, so shout out to Jason with your KC.
But whatever.
Well, we need to send him a link and say donate 35 cents to our PayPal, please.
So you can keep me on the show.
Yeah, so he can keep Andy coming back.
No,
we had
Andy
to
doesn't
pay
get
him
paid
for
anymore.
20 episodes. That was 5 cents an episode. Like, Jesus, people.
We're killing it.
Andy doesn't get paid anymore. Andy's fired.
So let's go through our games here a little bit from week 17. Jets did end up beating the Bills. Saints won. And the Bengals ended up beating the Browns. Cowboys ended up clobbering. The Packers won. Ravens obviously beat the Steelers, who are just praying for next year for Ben to be back. Titans won. Like I said earlier, they did make it in with their win there. Jaguars ended up beating the Colts. Chiefs won, taking their second spot, beating I believe the Chargers on that one. Bears ended up beating the Vikings against their third string everybody. The Patriots lost against the Dolphins, which was fantastic to watch. I think
Tom Brady looking like a third-string quarterback.
Magic, baby.
Fitzpatrick has played for every AFC East team besides the Patriots and has beaten them on every team, which is amazing. I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Fame just because. Just for the beard. The Eagles ended up beating the Giants, cementing their way in, even though the Cowboys did win as well. Falcons beat the Buccaneers. really kind of just making something out of a pitiful start. It was really surprising, and it's really their only reason Dan Quinn probably still has a job.
No, the only reason Dan Quinn still has a job is because Jameis decided to gift wrap the Falcons a win at the end of their season with his 30th interception to go along with.
Well,
what was it? His 33rd touchdown?
Yeah,
Jameis has gifted a lot of people their jobs.
Jameis Winston, 30 for 30.
30 interceptions, and 5,000 yards.
Jameis Winston gave away more gifts than Santa Claus this year.
To the
they
nice
asked
and the
Bruce
naughty
Arians after the game if they thought they would be able to win games with another quarterback with the same roster, and he said we were able to win some games with this one. Jameis is pretty much done in Tampa
I think
Bay.
Jameis is bye-bye down there. You see him in a Jets uniform.
Well, as soon as he wanted $30 million a year, I think Bruce Arians was probably just sitting back in his chair, fucking laughing his ass off, going.
Can you imagine that Jets team?
Later, bitch.
Winston and fucking Bell. That would be such a waste of money.
Adam Gase doesn't even want Le'Veon. Why would he want fucking Jameis?
They're not going to pick up Jameis. They're not going
to
keep
fucking
Le'Veon,
rich.
So.
Adam Gase is fucking rich.
He's rich as fuck.
It's
true. Whatever.
Broncos, another team that kind of, scratched out a decent end of the season. They beat the Raiders. There might be some moves with Carr down at the Raiders now. A lot of people are talking about Carr and comparing him to his brother, and he's worse than David Carr right now. So that's an interesting one.
Well, I think the biggest thing going on that one is that John Gruden and him have not gotten along.
Yeah. What do you have to say?
They get along fine. I think the problem is, and I've said it multiple times, Carr, he had like a killer instinct before he got hurt, before he broke his leg, and he's just plays like he's afraid. Yeah, he's afraid to get hit. And
I listened to Sirius XM today, and they talked about how Carr is like a practice body, where he is a hard worker in practice. He looks fantastic in practice, but when he gets on the field, he looks like timid and scared a lot of times. So it's like two different people.
Yeah, like 2016, step up in the pocket. Didn't matter if he had hands in his face and he was firing away. I mean, he made Michael Crabtree a deep threat, and Michael Crabtree hasn't had a step on anybody in a long time.
Yeah,
but he would
throw
guys over.
It's true.
You don't bring a very, very good. But what I think will happen is, to make a long story short, I think they're going to get rid of him right now, but they're probably going to draft somebody else, and I think he's on a very, very short leash this year.
Andy Dalton's coming to town.
You need to get McGloin back.
Yeah,
either that or
that quarterback room with Andy Dalton and Matt McGloin, all the ginger powers assembled into two quarterbacks.
Nate Peterman,
with our powers combined.
Peterman,
fucking. Either that or he's going to trot Deshaun Kaiser out there, and then you're going to hear me screaming from here. Although, honestly, the Raiders do have a knack for taking shit quarterbacks from other teams and turning them into something. So,
or drafting quarterbacks that looked really good in college.
Kerry Collins.
They turn out to be shit.
Gronkowski even did well with you guys.
Sorry.
Charlie Fry
for a while.
Honestly, Charlie Fry was okay. Jason Campbell was really good, but he got hurt again.
Charlie Fry got hurt too, because I thought Charlie Fry looked a lot like Big Ben the way he played.
Yeah,
with being able to evade and throwing around shit.
He went from, I think, the Browns to the Seahawks to the Raiders, and I was like, gag me. And I think he got hurt as well or something. Like he
came in during the Baltimore game and was like, he came in because I forget who was in, but they got hurt. And he came in that game and was fucking just slinging the ball all over the field and was kicking ass, and then he got fucking hurt in that game.
Yeah. That was because we couldn't block anybody in those days. So
yeah,
easy come, easy go.
Yep.
So the Rams did beat the Cardinals, and then on Sunday night, the Seahawks beat themselves and lost against the 49ers. The Seahawks just, they Pete Carroll doesn't know what to do when he's on the 1 yard line.
Coming up
really
short
doesn't.
in the clutch.
He's just, I don't know what. You got Marshawn Lynch back. You get a delay a game at the end of the game when you've just drove down the field to get right on the doorstep. It was just like, I can't believe that they did it again. They just faltered right at the end.
And Marshawn's like, why the fuck did I come back? Why
Yeah.
did I sign up
Coming up
again?
short
He's like,
in the
"Peace.
clutch in the
Fuck
big
this."
games that matter. Like I
Yep.
said.
Yeah. So that was our picks. So I went 8-8. Jace went 10-6. Kevin went 11-6, winning the week, and Andy
11-5.
went 8-8. Oh yeah, excuse me, 11-5. I may have fudged up your last score then. And then Andy went 8-8. Andy with the 8-8 at the end held everybody off. Me and Kevin both tied at 151. Jace clawed his way back into his relevance at being
Within
149, and Andy won it at 152.
Yeah, I was down pretty disrespectfully.
You were down at
one point.
over 10 wins at one point.
Yeah, and it was like the last 3 weeks I basically clawed that back.
Yeah.
So
Here's what I
Within
realized,
3.
Jace. You went overboard with picking against Andy because had you picked the Falcons like him, the Broncos, which I can understand, and then the
that
Rams,
was in either way.
And then the Rams, you would have won. Even if you would have picked the 49ers and kept the Raiders, you would have won. If you picked 3 more like Andy, you would have won.
Yeah.
Or tied.
I went a little overboard too, trying to come back, and
but it actually almost worked for you.
Well, I needed to knock. I shouldn't have taken the Giants because again, I should have known better. Pat Shurmur doesn't know how to run an offense.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals-Rams game, should have probably not taken the flyer on that.
If one
but
of
boy,
us
did Gardner Minshew sure do me fucking proud.
Yeah, he got you that game, that's for sure. I was dumb and went
solidifying
with
his starting job
Texans,
next year,
thinking that I think I went with the Texans because I was hoping that they would win to help the Steelers get in, even though it was such a long shot. I should have gone with the Titans there. That was really my big mess up on that game, was going with.
Well,
I also honestly, probably should have taken the Ravens. But
I stuck with that one with the Texans because I was just sitting there thinking, you never really want to play your divisional rival in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somebody you've already seen that's played you twice. And
here's the thing, though: the only way they would have played each other is in the AFC Championship.
And really, the thing on that too, that should have swayed everybody is if you were paying attention to the fact that the Chiefs and Patriots both played a 1:00 game. They were then the 4:00, so they knew they were stuck in the 3 or in the 4 slot.
Yeah,
regardless of what they did going into that game. If they'd have had a shot at Kansas City and getting the 3 slot, that's Jace. But if they'd had a shot at Kansas City in the 3 slot, they would have probably more than likely
played a little harder.
Boys.
Yeah, there would have been actually something to play for in that game.
And who in the fuck? I mean, as soon as they looked up and saw the Dolphins-Patriots score on the scoreboard, they went, "Okay,
right."
Everything's pretty much
life is good.
Everything
like really New England.
Everything is set in stone at this point. So yeah.
Well, let's move on a little bit here. Congratulations to Andy winning fantasy.
Thanks. I'm not going to be cocky. I was going to say I'm not going to get cocky because it is pretty much shit luck. So,
I mean, we all did well, and I'm actually quite proud of us. We all were getting 2/3 of our games. So
always semi-wrong podcast.
Yeah, 2/3 of the time.
Yeah.
Correct.
I just wanted to point out I definitely did see a big eye roll out of Jace Junk when I said Gardner Minshew solidified his starting job, but I don't know how anybody could think anything less after the game he put on against the Colts. And the fact that Doug Marone's going to be hanging around. the guy who brought him in.
I think that
Nick Foles is
probably going to go back to Philly.
Yeah.
Or he's probably going to be done.
Veteran minimum. I don't know.
He won a basically meaningless Week 17 game at home. Whoop-de-doo. Let's see him. Do something next year.
We will find out. Maybe they'll keep Nick Foles around to back up the undrafted rookie Gardner Minshew.
He wasn't undrafted.
Oh, he wasn't?
He was drafted in the 5th round, isn't he?
No, they're just going to keep forcing Nick Foles down everybody's throat just to
Yeah.
That's it.
No.
I hope that's what happens. I hope Nick Foles grows a mustache.
Like, this is the guy. Yeah, I hope he grows his hair out again and grows a mustache and starts wearing a bandana.
It's over.
I mean, that could, he could come along and try to steal the Minshew powers, but I don't think it's going to work for him.
Yeah.
The
We're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Move on.
Let's get over it.
Let's touch in on some of the hires and fires this offseason has already presented. Obviously, the big one is Ron Rivera got hired over at the Redskins after getting fired on December 3rd from the Carolina Panthers. He immediately then hired Jack Del Rio as his defensive coordinator. How do you guys feel about this move? Do you think this might bring the Redskins back into the limelight and actually might show that they can do something? Andy, I'll start with you. You look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but I didn't know if anybody else wanted to hear. I've actually always kind of been a Jack Del Rio fan. I mean, he's not like he's never been overboard with fucking winning or anything, but
if you think about it, when he was the head coach for the Raiders, that's when the Raiders started showing that they were coming out of their own black hole.
Yeah.
You see what I did
there?
Well,
he also did very well in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he did do very well in Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville and Oakland, he caused us a lot of misery in Steelers losses to the Raiders and Jaguars.
David Garrard.
No, I think Fred Taylor. Fuck Fred
Rashean Mathis.
I told you, Ben thought Rashean Mathis was Reggie Nelson, so he kept throwing him the ball.
I told you to stop bringing up such painful memories.
You just brought up Jamarcus Russell. All is fair.
Good point.
Valid.
The one thing that I saw that I thought was very interesting is Jack Del Rio has a history as a defensive coordinator and turnarounds. He came into Carolina the year they drafted Julius Peppers with a high first-round pick and turned that defense around. He also then came into Denver as the defensive coordinator when they had a high first-round pick and picked up Von Miller and turned that defense around. Now he's got the second pick in this year's draft, and it's most likely going to be Chase Young from Ohio State, a guy that everybody thinks is going to be a huge difference maker, the next Nick Bosa, or next year's Nick Bosa, I guess it would be, and an opportunity to turn that defense around. And if you do that and solidify a few spots on the offense, I think that's all you need for – I mean, look, he's in the NFC East or NFC least, whatever you want to fucking call them. They all suck. So
but here's the question, though. Their biggest hole is their offensive line and how horrible it is. So do you really think they're going to use the second-round pick on a defensive player when they need it, like – what if there's a stud tackle or guard out there that they need?
There's a stud tackle who may be coaxed back into town by Coach Ron Rivera.
Yeah, I don't
think
think
Williams still sitting there that they might be able to, with a new coaching staff, new guys at the top,
that's a good point,
new
mindsets. I didn't really think about that.
I mean, Rivera's got a history of winning football.
And I'm
a
sure
lot of people are going to want to play for him.
What were you saying, Jace?
Just real quick, like Kevin said, I think Trent Williams can be coaxed back into town. And one thing, I think the reason you draft Chase Young is because you immediately set him alongside Montez Sweat on the other side. You have two set pieces to rush the passer for many, many years to come. And Jack Del Rio is a wizard on defense.
And then
he's going to flip that place on its head, and they're going to be probably within.
So we're talking a lot about Del Rio more than Rivera on this.
Yeah.
Well, because in reality, the head coach is the guy who is kind of the figurehead above everything, but the guys who are doing the grinding and doing the dirty work and what are eventually make the teams successful or not is the guys installing game plans.
Yeah.
And if they do pick up Young and they have him on the opposite side of Montez Sweat, if nothing else, they have a Jacksonville Jaguars type of marketing opportunity where they can, they had the Minshew mania shit going on, and the Washington Redskins can immediately come out with the shirts that look at our young guys making all these QBs sweat.
Stop it.
Well,
God,
I hate you. I'm immediately shutting this show
I just wanted to say that I mean, Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera are both very hands-on coaches, and I'm sure as we're speaking right now, they are putting some sort of plan together that both very hard-working coaches.
They don't take their time. They get shit turned around quick. Like, they are ready to go now. So I think it's something the Redskins have begged for a long time. Jay Gruden has been, like, possibly the worst head coach in the league for, like, the last 3 years. I can remember in 2015 them talking about how horrible he was.
Yeah.
So, like, he got fired real quick, which was long overdue.
The biggest deal, I think, for the Washington Redskins in the future of that franchise, though, was Bruce Allen finally being let go of his position. He was a major detriment to that team, and as long as they don't put some dipshit in charge of that, mainly Daniel Snyder, they should be good to go.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, I think the big Trent Williams rift, I don't think it was necessarily with Jay Gruden or the organization. I think it was him and Bruce Allen not seeing eye to eye.
And they'll have that, a la Tom Coughlin.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, him being gone now is really going to open the doors for the Jaguars, too.
Dogfighting ring.
Dogfighting ring.
Where's Michael Vick when you need him?
I didn't know you had a lunch date with Vic.
He's downstairs right now. I'm gonna
downstairs.
Is he gonna make a guest appearance?
Andy's warming Fido up his.
No, he hates Kevin. So
that's understandable.
That's not nice.
Michael
Don't
Vick
do anything to those fucking mutts.
So, moving on to some of the other head coaches, we did mention Jay Gruden. Obviously, with the Rivera hiring, Jay Gruden was out. Do you think he's even going to get a job?
No, well,
I mean, Adam Gase got a job.
Jay Gruden's going to get a job. He's going to be some form or another on the coaching staff of the Oakland Raiders with his brother.
No, he'll be. You know who I saw? Marvin Lewis. The most random place ever is an offensive assistant at Arizona State, and that's where you'll see. Next, you won't hear from Jay Gruden for the next calendar year, and then
Florida.
You'll be flipping through bowl games on around Christmas time, New Year's, and you'll be like, oh, there's Jay Gruden. He's the fucking offensive coordinator for Ole Miss or some horse shit or something like that.
I can see it. I can see it being a thing.
East Carolina.
I was gonna say like FIU,
Central Michigan,
yeah,
State
Florida International.
All right, so on to the Browns. The Browns is really the ones I want to talk about here. We all knew Freddie Kitchens was headed out the door. We all thought that Freddie Kitchens hiring was a really dumb move. Obviously, we weren't in the podcast at that point, but we talked about it a lot, and I thought it was the dumbest of moves. He squandered a humongously talented roster and just shit on the hopes and dreams of all the Browns fans out there. Oh, so sorry I am. But the only thing he did do this year was beat the Steelers. So that was, his only highlight. I mean, it had to take the third string quarterback and then beating our second string quarterback in the head with his helmet.
Well,
but,
that was also a low light of the season too, though.
Yeah, that's
because a lot of people thought that might be a reason for him to get fired as well.
Yeah. Now, we don't know if Myles Garrett will even be back next year. because he's still indefinitely suspended.
He'll be back.
But he'll be back because, I mean, Josh Gordon's been back 26 times and he still can't stop smoking pot. So,
well, I think this is the time he's officially done. I think now it's over.
Yeah.
But
the difference there too is that while Josh Gordon was smoking pot and violating a league substance abuse policy, he didn't do something on the field as heinous as what we saw from Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go with what a lot of people were originally saying. I think they will go ahead and suspend him for the first 10 games of this season as well and have him out for a full year, and then he'll be back at the end of the year.
Cream Hunt style.
I can see that.
Yeah, 10 games.
I could see it. I could definitely see that for sure.
But back to the coaching thing.
Yeah. So Kitchen's out. We all kind of we liked that move. I did, at least. The one I didn't like was John Dorsey. And I think, Kevin, you have opposing views on this one, but I thought that was the dumbest move Cleveland could have done because nothing Dorsey has done has been wrong. That man has brought in so much talent to that team and worked his butt off to acquire all these picks. He nailed it with Denzel Ward. Mayfield still got potential and still shows those flashes. I really think he did a fantastic job drafting and acquiring the picks and players that he did. I think that the trades this year with Odell Beckham and
Sheldon Richardson
and trading away Peppers and Zeitler were horrible moves. I think those were kind of more flashy, wannabe in the headlines type of thing. I think the Zeitler move was bad. But... The Zeitler move was bad.
Yeah, the Zeitler move
was a big problem for them all year.
Yeah,
but Peppers, I was okay.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, Zeitler.
Peppers showed really good potential in that secondary.
Yeah, but they picked up Greedy Williams in the first round. I mean, he's a corner, but
yeah, they picked up Greedy Williams, but then they lost a deep covering safety with speed and playmaking ability. So, and Peppers had a great year with the Giants. So,
and just real quick before you and Kevin get into your opposing arguments on this, what it was originally supposed to happen was John Dorsey had a meeting with Jimmy Haslam and the ownership brass, and they essentially told Dorsey they wanted to cut back his authority in the GM roles and assign more authority elsewhere. And John Dorsey basically told them, "Go fuck yourselves. I'm done." And they mutually agreed to part ways. Is what
mutually agreed to fuck off.
Yeah. Well, and I was reading one more thing. I was reading an article about the firing of Hugh Jackson when they did that whole thing in 2017. Remember that year they lost like a whole bunch of games in overtime right at the end of the year? And Haslam and Dorsey walked in, and their excuse that they gave Jackson for firing him was they said that he had lost the team after they took a dog shit team, and Baker Mayfield was like clawing back to keep them in games. And Hugh Jackson looked at him and said, "Get the fuck out of my office." And that's how he got fired. They have no structure, no respect for anybody. It is fucking atrocious. I said it before we came on air. The board of owners needs to just remove Jimmy Haslam and give him somebody who can actually run a fucking franchise.
Is the problem.
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
100%.
He is potentially a bigger risk to his team than Jerry Jones. Yeah.
I don't know how when he was in, like, he had just taken ownership of that team, gets committed, or convicted of tax fraud or some bullshit. Yeah. Maybe not him, but the company he owned. And then they were like, "Oh, we're going to let you run your NFL team anyhow." They should have been like, "Fuck you, get the fuck out," right then.
Yeah.
That's a white collar crime. Nobody gives a shit about a white collar crime.
Yeah. It's not like he was smoking pot.
So go ahead, Kevin. I'll let you start it off, and then I'll rebut, and then we'll go. We'll battle.
I think they did need to clean house, and the reason I think they need to clean house is because John Dorsey has had just as much a part of the responsibilities, and as far as all the decisions they've made, that has turned this team that has a lot of potential into a shit team as anybody else. He would have been part of the hiring of Freddie Kitchens as the coach. He's also a guy who brought in Odell Beckham Jr., who is a TO in a locker room. And which is definitely you could see throughout different points of the game. Even last Sunday, his attitude is just fucking piss poor. and it's not going to change until he goes somewhere like New England or somewhere where they don't put up with that bullshit. Which is probably what will end up fucking happening because it's what always happens. But Freddie Kitchens definitely needed to go. John Dorsey needed to go. Jimmy Haslam's not going anywhere. The only thing I have a problem with is that now they're looking to try to add a head coach before they add a GM, and that's never been a good recipe because the GM always wants the coach that he wants.
Yeah.
So they never want to work well with that coach and just try to basically find a way to get rid of him to get their guy installed.
Mike McCarthy's interviewing right now, I believe.
That poor guy.
Cleveland.
Matt Roll told him to kick rocks. He wasn't going to fucking go interview with him.
Yeah. How about that? He declined the interview, said, no, I will not.
Head coach at Baylor said, nah, you're a dumpster fire. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, after watching the Baylor game, I don't know if the Browns would want to interview that guy anyhow.
That was bad.
Yeah, they got shit on by a shit Georgia team.
So I'm going to say it like this. Dorsey wasn't the problem there. If anything, Dorsey created opportunity for the coaching staff to succeed. He loaded that roster. He loaded it with young, talented people that they could mold in any way they wanted. Like I said earlier, I don't agree with the Beckham trade. I thought that was a horrible trade. I don't think that it was worth having him there. Landry still led the team and everything. Landry was the guy. They should have just kept the guard and worked on improving the team from within at that point. They banked on all their picks. They nailed a lot of them, and I think that was really the start of the downfall. I think, like you said, the coaching staff squandered the opportunity. Yes, Dorsey was part of hiring Kitchens, but how much was that more influenced by Haslam than it was Dorsey? The only other thing I can really say is Dorsey could have done everything. He did everything he could, and he set them up for success, but Haslam whined like a trust fund frat boy and decided to fire everybody because he was a little bitch about everything. He's not going to make this Browns team into anything more than the fucking Pirates at this point, because that's pretty much all they do. They grow people and then they get rid of them.
At least the Browns are spending money. I mean,
I'll be right back.
But the issue is when you acquire, I mean, just on this list alone, OBJ, Kareem Hunt, Sheldon Richardson, and Olivier Vernon. The only one other than Olivier Vernon, they've all had locker room issues and stuff like that. When you have strong egos, you need a Mike McCarthy. You need somebody to be able to control that locker room and keep everybody in check.
John Gruden, Jack Del Rio.
Yeah. Freddie Kitchens has all
you don't
the
hire a
authoritative
first-time
power
head
of,
coach
with those kind of egos around. You're right, Jace.
Freddie Kitchens was about as intimidating and authoritative as your high school lunch monitor walking around. like just fuck you, dude. We don't care. Like, just keep on.
What are you gonna do about it?
Sue me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Take my fucking, and like, we're in high school. We don't have recess anymore. Blow me. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest problems of this whole situation was the hype train at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
I mean, this team was talked up so much that whenever
the more and more that
losing,
talk went, the more and more I saw the fall happen.
Yep. And then once the fall happened, like, no shit, Odell's going to be telling teams to come and get him. Like, they were promised this fucking, like,
they were
silver platter.
They were handed the Super Bowl in the preseason.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the preseason started.
Raiders could just pick up that contract, send them a first rounder, no tax laws, and bright lights of Las Vegas.
Sorry about that. I'm sure nothing intelligent was said while I was gone.
You know how great, and shut up. It was actually the podcast We gained like 10 viewers.
We
as
did.
soon as you came back, everybody just
Oh,
shut
okay.
their fucking shit
Because
back off.
you're allowed to see viewers on something that hasn't been posted to anything yet. Okay, sure.
Yeah, fuck you, Kevin.
Yes.
Quasimodo.
That's how that works, Chase.
It's called my
Quasimodo.
big ass. You're always making fun of my big ass head. I'm using. My
Oh,
head
you were
for
seeing the
telepathy. I'm
future with
seeing the
that
future.
gigantic
Yes.
fucking.
Yes, prediction.
He
Here's
stared
the
into
thing.
his own.
There's a
crystal
lot
ball.
of air around the brain inside that big ass fucking head.
No, it is like pressing against the outsides. It's everywhere.
And then, unfortunately, it's just filled with useless Raider fucking trivia.
It's hard being the smartest and the best looking guy on the
Wow.
Okay, well, I
So-
think we've covered the Browns enough.
Yeah, I don't really want to
Yeah.
talk about the Browns.
We're still
too
on the
much more.
Browns?
Yeah,
Jesus.
I don't want to talk about them too much more, but
We should have
I
just
think it was
talked
a
shit
horrible
on Kevin
move,
for
and
10
I think
minutes.
you
Yeah.
saw the Browns go up in this
Fuck you, Andy.
rise,
Fuck you,
and
Quasi.
then immediately fucking free fall now, and it'll be back to the same old Browns, and Baker Mayfield's career will be squandered away.
He'll be
And,
number 36 on the jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of
The one thing you were right
former
about,
Cleveland
Jesse,
quarterbacks.
they have drafted pretty well the past couple of
They
years,
have.
and that now goes
No.
away. That was the one thing they had going for them, and now they have nothing. What's that say?
Can't see it and don't
Jason
Garrett
Garrett expected soon.
So that was actually one of my next topics.
Well, hold on 1 second. I did want to
Yeah.
bring up one thing real quick before we moved
We
on.
just said we're done talking about the Browns.
The one funny thing that I heard today was on the Tiki and Tierney show on my way home. They're talking about teams that need to get it right and like that can't afford to not get it right. And they said Tiki Barber said the Browns can afford to get it wrong. And Tierney's like, why? And he said, because they've been getting it wrong for 30 years and they still have a good fan base.
Yeah, I don't know how. I really don't know how.
Okay, moving
People
on
love
to the
just being
Cowboys.
So anyhow, and I
So-
actually just wait a second. I just read too that Urban Meyer is actually interviewing with them, and Jason Garrett's still their head coach. So that's something.
a little.
Well,
What?
With the Cowboys?
Yeah. Urban
what I
Meyer's
heard
interviewing with the Cowboys, and Jason Garrett's still their head coach.
again, what I heard today on the Tiki and Tierney show is one thing that they are thinking might be a possibility for the Cowboys' job is that Jason Garrett's going to be kept on, not as the head coach, but as an advisor to the new head coach because of his ties to the Jerry Jones and the Jones family. They're going to keep him on to help the transition process for a college coach.
That doesn't happen. I'm sorry, but that does not.
Well,
happen.
basically, what that is
Who
that's the
else is going to
equivalent of,
hire
like, when
Jason Garrett?
That's what happens when when one president gets let go and one comes in and they basically go, okay, here's your chair, here's where you sit, get nice and comfy. All right, you need anything?
We'll pay
I'll
you this
leave
much
now.
money every
Yeah.
year so you don't fucking talk.
Yeah, he'll be there long enough to help him put his stapler on the desk, and then Urban Meyer's gonna be like, all right, get the fuck out of here.
But you really Jason Garrett does not want to, or Jerry Jones does not want to fire Jason Garrett. That's been obvious.
But he has
because
to.
if he really wanted to fire Jason Garrett would have been fired week 6.
Well, they've met him.
But-
They've met 3 times in the past, week and a half.
And that's
since-
why I think that's why I think there's some validity to what they're saying there, because I think they're trying to work out how they're going to make this transition process from
But
the head coaching position to an advisory role.
It's why haven't
just
they?
make him
They've
GM.
been
Fuck
expected
it.
to fire him 2-3 times now, and then it's been he's gonna get fired. He's walking into the boardroom now, and then they come out and they go, oh, nothing's expected. Nothing's gonna happen. What the fuck?
It doesn't
Just-
fucking make any sense.
It's like a
No,
Band-Aid.
Every,
It's
every,
Jerry
Get rid of his
Jones.
bum ass.
Everything Jerry
Nothing
Jones
Jerry
does
Jones
does
make
not
sense.
make sense at all.
Jerry Jones
period.
doesn't want to be wrong. He does not
It's
want
Jerry
Jason
Jones's
Garrett to
world,
be-
and we're all just
Yeah.
Send
He
send
does not
Jason
wanna be
Garrett's
wrong.
sorry ass up the river and thank him for his service.
I
He
hope
has
that the
so
Las
much
Vegas
invested in
Stadium
Jason
kicks
Garrett.
the Dallas Stadium's ass. So
It's-
Jerry
it's
Jones
all
will have a
black.
fucking
Dude.
fucking aneurysm over it.
I just love it, that black glass on the
Yeah, it
outside.
looks
Dude,
fucking
that's
sick.
that stadium looks
sick.
fucking badass. I'm not
That's
even
gonna be a
gonna
scary
lie.
place to play.
They
Yeah.
A scary
legitimately-
pace to play.
A very
Yeah.
pacey
Pace
pit
to
to
play.
pay.
I will be out there next
They
December.
literally made a black hole. You know how hot the outside of that building is going to be, though? In the fucking desert being black.
Well, not always, because, like, you got to remember Vegas in the wintertime, it doesn't get, in the desert, it doesn't get much above,
That's
like,
true.
60 degrees.
At night, the desert gets, like, freezing cold, so.
Yeah.
So moving on from the Cowboys, if Urban Meyer actually does take that job, I almost feel bad for Urban Meyer.
Ezekiel Elliott's college coach.
I mean, it makes sense, but
what happens to Dak Prescott if Urban Meyer takes over?
I think he stays.
I think he stays.
How much do you think he's going to get paid, though?
I don't think he'll make 30.
He wants 30.
We've said this time and time again, and I know Kevin's going to shake his head on this. It doesn't matter what your talent level is. It matters when your contract's up.
What do you mean shake my head? Shake my head, yes? Okay, because yes, I was
because I know
one of the big proponents of this.
You were one that said this a lot, and I agreed with you, everyone. It doesn't matter how good you are. It matters when your contract's up and whose contract you have to beat.
Yeah.
I do disagree.
I
disagree marginally. You have to just be literally just above average. You have to be just good enough to, go above 500 and have a good defense behind you to carry you, and they'll give you a fuckload of money.
I do believe
Matthew Stafford.
I do believe, though,
Derek Carr.
If I'm wrong, they can still franchise him this season, upcoming season, can't they?
Yes.
Yes.
That is what I would look towards more, because
I think that's going to just set
Justin Fields, who will be coming out of the next draft from Ohio State.
I think that's a horrible move because, one, look what it did with Cousins. All it's going to do is make him want more money because a franchise tag is going to
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they
want
to keep Dak. I don't think they want to keep him. I think they'll keep him for one more year on the franchise tag and then go after Justin
I don't think
Fields
they want
in
to
the
keep
draft.
him either.
If that's the move, then yeah, I understand that one then.
I was not a real big believer in Dak before this year, but really it wasn't. He was doing everything he fucking could. But
yeah.
Just anemic play calling. And once again, poor clock management. Jason Garrett's a shitbag. And like we talked about, nobody heard about Kellen Moore's ass after like week 4.
When we sat here doing the podcast on a Thursday and I watched the Cowboys-Bears game, I wasn't a very big fan of Dak Prescott and his talents.
Kellen Moore's younger than fucking Jesse, I think.
Yeah.
Boise State.
Well, every quarterback's going to have a bad game here and there, but if you look at the numbers he put up, you can't argue against that.
But you can't. He didn't lead the league in passing for most of the year.
You can if you factor in the fact that they had no running game and they were completely reliant on the passing game.
No, it's because they were behind in every game, so they had to go to the passing game.
They had no running game because of that. But.
Well, I do agree with you. His stats were a little bit inflated, but that was just due to the fact that Zeke decided to take an extended Cabo vacation and came back out of shape, and they couldn't run the ball on anybody. That's nothing to do with Dak Prescott. That's a merit on Dak Prescott that he was able to put up those numbers in spite of not having a fucking running game.
Yeah.
Not many quarterbacks are going to be very good in this league without a solid running game.
At the same time, you guys all think Mitchell Trubisky is shit, right?
He's above average.
All of it was put on his shoulders for the entire season because they totally didn't have a running game. They had a game where they had 20 total rushes in the game, and 10 of them were from Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
So they weren't even trying to run the football.
Right.
Okay, but then let's look up Trubisky versus Dak Prescott's numbers this year. What's your point you're trying to make?
Yeah.
That was.
You'd have to look up quarterback pressures and all that.
Trubisky, I don't know. The guy who had better numbers than Tom Brady for the stretch of the season.
Everybody. Andy.
All right. You're getting off topic. Moving on, I want to get through the rest of these coaches so we can get into the wild card game. Matt Patricia saved his job. He fired pretty much every assistant and coordinator he fucking had. Cleaned house, and he's pretty much the only one standing. So he's pretty much going to hire a crew around him. This year
I'll be in on the next.
Yeah, seems like the year that will decide if Patricia is actually going to stay. Dan Quinn salvaged his career by just very barely squandering in a nice end to the season. I think they won 7-9 or something at the end, something like that. And then some coaching candidates they talked about: Dennis Allen, Saints defensive coordinator, possibly to the Browns. The Chiefs OC Eric Bieniemy has been reported with the Giants, Panthers, and Bieniemy,
isn't it?
Bieniemy.
Jace,
I think the second end.
Why are we doing this, Jace?
Why are we doing what?
Being in a podcast with people who don't know how to say fucking Eric Bieniemy.
Bieniemy.
I don't
That's
know.
it.
Is it Bieniemy?
Yes, it's Bieniemy.
Bieniemy of Bieniemy
also,
is
Jesse,
my
I'm pretty
friend.
sure you don't know what the meaning of the word squandering is either, because you use that completely fucking wrong.
That's my fucking word of the day for some reason. I don't know why.
You always have a word of the day.
I do every fucking
and you
podcast.
use it wrong 90% of the time.
Every single time. Every time. I'm just gonna start saying nonsense words and using them that way, like squillability.
Sparkle.
That will still make more sense than what you're actually trying to get out of your dumb face.
Brian DeBoe, the Bills offensive coordinator, also connected to the Browns, like everybody is. Joe Judge, Patriots special teams coach, connected to the Giants. Mike McCarthy, possibly to the Browns, Panthers, Giants. Josh McDaniels, Browns, Panthers, Giants. No way Josh McDaniels is getting another head coaching job unless it's with New England. Not after the shit he pulled on the Colts. Nobody wants to hire that guy.
Actually, he's well sought after by many teams in the league now.
It doesn't fucking make
sense.
Yeah,
he's not going to get the head coaching job in New England because the head coaching job in New England is currently being held for Stephen Belichick.
No, it's not. It's being held for Josh McDaniels. Are you kidding me?
No, it's being held for Stephen Belichick.
No, it's not. Josh McDaniels is going to take over the reins.
You're right, Andy. I'll take your word over a fucking Boston reporter.
Fuck Boston.
With ties to the franchise.
Who probably also said last year that Josh McDaniels is coming back because he's going to be taking over for Belichick.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
He retires.
I don't think
they said during the whole thing.
McDaniels won't stay long enough to be Belichick's successor. That's why I do agree with
Kevin. He's already tried it once. And he fucking drafted Tim Tebow.
That's why I said he won't. Robert Kraft, if he's still alive, won't let him be the head coach. Robert Kraft will come down and coach before he'll let Josh McDaniels draft or be in charge of anything ever again. Other than
talk shit on it all you want. All Tim Tebow did was win football games.
Yeah, especially
including against the Steelers.
All right. Moving on.
Don't worry. Hey, Jesse, Demaryius Thomas across the middle.
Fuck off. That was back in the heyday where Ike Taylor ran a 5.6 40 time.
Well, that was also Troy was 8 yards too deep in the box, and then by the time he got back, he was already fucking burned.
That was near the end of Troy's career too. Also, who's been selected as a finalist for the Hall of Famer?
Him and Faneca.
Yep. All right, so moving on to the wild card, let's make our selections here. Buffalo at Houston. I think this is going to be a great frigging game. J.J. Watt, I don't think will be playing in this game. I think it's kind of they're hoping that they get into the divisional round and then he might be coming back. But he is I think is he practicing right now or
he's been a full go at practice.
Sure has he? Okay,
playing?
So maybe they said I've seen articles where they're like, will he play? So I don't think it's been fully
you'll see him
yet.
Probably come in and out on
Texans activate JJ Watt. He's officially back for the playoffs.
So he might be on a snap count, but he'll be in there.
Yeah.
So Buffalo at Houston, I think that, like I said, it's going to be a fantastic game. I have a hard time picking this one because I could see it going either way. I think that's why I like this game so much. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I went with Houston on this, saying that Houston was going to win it. What do you guys think?
I took Houston as well. I just don't think that Josh Allen is quite yet up to snuff. or near as accurate as it needs to be able to win games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You pretty much took everything I was going to say. But yeah, Allen's not just quite there yet. I do think with time, I think he can be a real threat. He's very underrated with his legs, but I think this Texans defense is just barely good enough. And you got to think Tre'Davious White's probably going to be shadowing DeAndre Hopkins, so Kenny Stills or whoever is probably going to have a hell of a game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And Hopkins is one of those receivers, even if the best cornerback is shadowing him and he's getting bracketed, he still can make a difference in the game.
He plays number ones every week, but Tre'Davious White, honestly, that still pisses me off. I think the Raiders took like DJ Hayden one pick before him, and then they got him, and I would just like to break this over my fucking skull.
Hey, my lava lamp's working.
Yeah.
It only took you a year and a half.
Well, that's what happens when you get a Walmart lava lamp.
Do something. I think I'm the only one that actually took the Bills in this one. I'm planning for that
because of their running back room.
Because of their running back room.
Wendell Smallwood.
Frank Gore's going for 128 yards. But no, I think I'm planning on the shitty Texans defense from the middle of the year to show up. And I think Buffalo's defense is going to walk it down. Josh Allen's going to do just enough to get it done. And
see, I could see it close. Ways. I honestly could agree with all of your points on this. I think that Houston is the better team because of Watson. And I think that's really the only difference in this, because I think that he has more of an ability to put up more points. And I know that the Bills defense has stopped a lot of very good offenses, but I feel like Watson will be the difference maker in that one. The second of Saturday's games, Tennessee at New England. Now, I am the only one, I believe, that on our bracket chose New England to win this game. You forget that it's the playoffs. Goddamn Jace's headset.
You need to invest some money there, sir.
Yes.
I use this same one on Xbox all the time, and it works fine. I don't know why it does this when it's plugged into my phone.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's not this invest in a better phone.
Yeah, my iPhone is a piece of shit. I need a new one.
So I think I'm the only one that picked New England on this. Like I said, I think that a lot of people forget that it's New England in the playoffs, and they are a different team in the playoffs. They hold back all season. They just do enough to win every game. And then when the playoffs come in, Belichick has built this mountain of scheming against every team in the NFL and knows exactly what to do to defeat everybody.
I think you're forgetting that this isn't the same Patriots team that it's been in those years. This team has shown deficiencies in areas where they never showed deficiencies. That's going to be the biggest difference when it comes down to it against a good Titans defense with Ryan Tannehill, who's been playing very well to go along with the second coming of beast mode in Derrick Henry.
He is the weirdest shaped running back I think I've ever seen.
He's gigantic.
Yeah. And when he runs fast, but he looks so
He's straight up and down whenever he runs.
He looks so slow when he's running. But he's like throwing
because he's ready to murder motherfuckers.
Yeah, because when you stand next to him, he's like 3 times your size. Like his legs are as big around as your like whole middle torso. So no, so here's essentially what's going to happen. I can tell you the game plan right now. The Titans Ryan Tannehill is going to manage the ball, manage the clock. They're going to feed Derrick Henry. They're going to run the ball down their throats, and they're going to take that talented secondary of the Patriots, and especially Stephon Gilmore, completely out of the equation. They probably won't even look his fucking way. And then what's going to happen is they're going to bring the heat on Brady and that patchwork offensive line. They've never had a good running game, but this is like non-existent. I don't know why they don't just put Sony Michel in there and let him run the fucking ball. But we want to do this committee bullshit, and I don't know why. So as soon as they put heat on Brady, he's not going to have time to get the ball out, and the Titans secondary is talented enough to take the ball away. The Titans are going to win this game. This is not the same Tom Brady of past years. This is a Patriots team that just lost at home to the Dolphins. I forget what.
Do you think they gave a shit about that game?
While getting the ball thrown all over the field on Stephon Gilmore, even.
Yeah, Devontae Parker made him look pretty pedestrian.
Devontae Parker has shown a lot this season.
Yeah, he's
the only receiver there. So Gesicki.
He's
him and Gesicki. Him, Gesicki, and Fitzpatrick is all they have on offense.
And it's amazing how they really taken over games.
But
sorry, Jace.
I think Jace had it right.
I know you were done.
I think they're going to take the secondary completely out of it. There's going to be a lot of checkdowns and thrown to their tight ends and stuff. I think they're going to come in smart. They're not going to play stupid. They're going to play to win. They're not going to play to try to blow them out.
I mean, I know the Titans are really hoping they had Delaney Walker in this game.
Delaware
walks with wolves.
Hashtag throwback.
Hashtag episode 1, baby.
Delarkey Whitaker. You're all wrong. You forget who Bill
This is
Belichick
why you're
is.
wrong. This is a Kevin Robinson. This is why you're wrong.
You're like, okay, they're going to come in and they're going to manage the game and they're going to run the ball and they're not going to let New England have it. That's what everybody fucking says against them. It's the playoffs. Bill Belichick knows that's what you're going to do. I hate, despise, wish nothing but the worst fate on the New England Patriots. But guess what? They're not stupid.
But you're sitting here and acting like this team has never lost in the playoffs before. They have not gone to 20 fucking Super Bowls.
Do you remember that wild card loss?
Sorry, not 22, 20.
Yeah, do you remember that wild card loss they had to the Jets? Like, what was it in the Sanchez years? Yeah, no, it wasn't 06. It was like the Mark Sanchez years they beat him, I think. Mm-hmm. I want to say 2012, something like that. Does that sound right?
I'm going to look that up. I thought it was like the late 2000s.
It might have been like 09 or
yeah, and that was during the worst stretch the New England Patriots have had.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the new worst stretch the Patriots have had.
Now,
it's a new
next
decade,
year will be that beginning. You're going to see them barely break 500.
Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.
I hate you.
It's 2020. We're going to see. Finally,
hey, how about this?
Happen.
I'm going to say my point because I let you guys say your point.
You started out saying your point. You started the topic.
And I just want to say that we don't.
And then we told you why you were wrong.
So, fuck you, Jesse.
So Bill Belichick knows what's going to happen and what they're going to scheme, and he knows he's going to take that away. He's going to load the box into one-on-one matchup in the back end. He's going to force Tannehill to try to take the game because he's going to stop Henry early. He's not going to let them run the football all over him. And I'm sorry, when you match up Tannehill against that secondary, it ain't going to happen.
It's not that secondary. It's one guy, Stephon Gilmore. The rest of the secondary is pretty suspect.
Devin McCourty and Jason McCourty? I'm sorry, no.
Jason McCourty is old as fuck. He's not as good as he used to be.
Jace.
Adam Humphries will have a hell of a game if they try to shut down AJ Brown.
And cocaine dealer Patrick Chung? Yeah, no.
09, Jace.
09, okay, that was the game.
I'm sorry.
Listen, this is why you're wrong.
No, it's not why I'm wrong. It's why I'm
You're
right.
wrong.
You guys think
that
the Titans are going to come up with this game plan that's going to defeat the Patriots, and I'm sorry, it's the playoff Patriots.
They don't have to come up with a game plan. They just have to keep playing football, doing what they've been doing all year.
And you know what? Belichick knows what they've done all year, and he knows how to stop that shit.
He knows how to stop it, but if he doesn't have the people on the fucking team to do it, they aren't going to be able to fucking do it.
Hey, Jesse. Jesse, you know who else was a playoff Patriot? Mike Vrabel.
Okay.
Just let you know. Well,
yes, I get it. He's the coach over there. That's great and dandy, but that's he's not out on the field doing anything.
Over there. But you're saying the same things Bill Belichick. He knows how to prepare this team. He knows he's not going to necessarily know what there's going to be thrown at them, but he knows the preparation that goes into.
Mike Vrabel knows what he knows.
The only way the Titans are going to win this game is not because they're going to manage the clock and run Derrick Henry. They are going to need Tannehill to throw it all over the fucking field on these one-on-one matchups. If they do that, then yes, they can win.
That's the bait. They're going to bait him into one-on-ones.
See, here's the thing. I think you're doing two things at the same time, Jesse. You're overestimating how good the Patriots are because they're not that good. They haven't beat anybody.
I'm not falling.
They haven't beat anybody.
I'm not falling for the
They
stigma
haven't beat anybody.
Every year we see it. Every fucking year we see it. Oh, the dynasty's done. They're not as good as they were.
The talent on a bad team. They're a bad team.
I will say
that had an easy schedule. And you're underestimating a good team that's coming into town.
What, Jace?
What happens, though, Jesse, if A.J. Brown comes out and fucking makes Stephon Gilmore look like a donkey like fucking Devontae Parker did last week? What happens then? All it takes literally is 4 or 5 maybe good, decent, deep throws, and then as soon as that defense backs up a hair, they're going to run the ball down their fucking throat.
That's
exactly
that's what I'm saying.
It's not going to take him throwing darts all night long. It's going to take a couple of throws for him to prove to them, okay, I can light you up if I fucking feel like it. You better step back. And then as soon as they do, Vrabel's going to hand the ball off, and that's how they're going to win this game. And that's why you're wrong, Jesse.
It's too obvious. And I'm sorry, but Belichick knows that. And it's going to be a completely different team.
He doesn't have the talent to stop it.
Season. I'm sorry.
You've got to have the
talent.
I
hate myself. I hate myself that I'm defending the Patriots right now.
Here's Bill Belichick. Here's you right now.
I hope God I'm wrong.
Go brush off.
Go get your Patriots jersey.
Go
brush off your. We all know you're in the closet. Brush
wrong.
off your Teddy Bruschi jersey, your Corey Dillon, your Deion Branch, your Randy Moss
I hope
jersey.
I'm wrong.
Come on now.
I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to be wrong.
See, this is the thing, Jace. He can't win the Lombardis often enough in the fantasy football, so he's a closet Patriots
Kevin,
fan.
is your name on that? Is your name on that trophy?
Your name's on there once.
Okay.
Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn once.
Your name's on there how many times?
Don't make me go put on the mask.
My name's on there twice, bitches. Fuck all of you.
All right, moving on. Minnesota and New Orleans. I think that Breeze is the better. I think this is going to be Breeze's swan song, to be honest with you. So I think New Orleans takes this, and I don't really have too much more to say about it than that, actually.
Yeah, Xavier Rhodes has been the Vikings' best corner the past couple of years, but yeah, he's looked very pedestrian this year. I think, like Jesse pretty much took it out. I think Breeze walks in there, runs a precision course. Oh, by the way, I wanted to bring up, Kevin, aren't you happy that Alvin Kamara waited till the final 2 weeks of the season to finally start scoring touchdowns? I would just like to bring that up. But yeah, Kamara's looking good. Michael Thomas looks great. The defense is actually playing above average very well. Marcus Lattimore's look good. Yeah, they're going to walk in there and they're going to make Kirk Cousins look like Kirk Cousins.
I don't think they're going to make Kirk Cousins look like Kirk Cousins. He's going to have Dalvin Cook. They're going to play. I think it's going to be actually a pretty good game, but I do believe New Orleans is just that much better that they'll be able to pull it out.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It'll be Dalvin Cook, and then can Kirk Cousins just not make too many mistakes to take him out of the game?
Can Kirk Cousins not Jameis Winston it up?
It depends on whether we get just Ned Flanders or angry Ned Flanders.
Well, Heidi fucking ho, neighbor.
Fucking.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Oh, yes. It's my turn. Hey, now I'm going to tell you guys why you're wrong.
The smile line.
I think Kirk Cousins is going to go in there, and I think that he is going to play the best game that he has played the entire season. And I think the Vikings are going to be Saint killers again. And I think it's going to be close. I mean, they're not going to blow him out or anything, but with Dalvin Cook back, and if I just completely lost my train of thought. Holy fuck!
It's okay because it wasn't a good thought, anyways.
Yeah,
it's a good thought.
Vikings are gonna
Well,
win,
they're gonna be Saint killers, and it's gonna be
Well,
close. It's gonna be like a 2 to 3 point game.
if you're hedging your
Vikings
bets on
take it.
Kirk, if you're hedging your bets on Kirk Cousins, I have a deed to the Brooklyn Bridge I would like to sell you. And also some property on the moon that I'll sell you for real cheap too.
It's
Real
more on
cheap.
Dalvin Cook and Stephon Diggs.
$100 a foot.
Kyle Rudolph.
I will give you that.
I think he can beat that defense if the right Kirk Cousins shows up.
Angry Ned Flanders.
Angry.
Yeah.
Angry.
If he shows up,
Flanders.
if he shows up ready to kick somebody in the willy, then
I'll kick you
we're
right
gonna be
in the
all
willy.
right. Then we'll be all right.
Right in the tallywhacker.
All right, then moving on to the late game on Sunday, Seattle or Philly Seattle at Philly. Excuse me.
Let's just all
First round bye
and move on.
First round bye for Seattle.
They should start Geno Smith for funsies.
For funsies.
Either that, or they should have to make Geno Smith could probably play wide receiver.
Have
the Philadelphia
Marshawn
Eagles
Lynch
right now.
run the Wildcat the entire time.
Fuck it. Let Marshawn Lynch throw the ball. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Every down.
I think we're all in pretty agreement.
Marshawn Lynch 10 for 89. And the Seahawks win 13-10.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement there. There's no shot Philly has on this. Good luck.
Nope.
And watch us all look fucking retarded next week.
I know.
I
right?
just,
You know what
I
I
am
mean?
going to continue real quick. I am going to go on FanDuel Sportsbook real quick just to see how badly
I was
the
going to say, I
Eagles are
wanna know
not
what the
favored.
spread is.
All right, so
Spread
I'm going
who's
to bring it
favorite
up now.
dipshit.
I went online.
Look at the spread, dickhead.
We each made a bracket. Where's Andy bracket? Where'd that go?
Andy bracket.
Andy bracket.
Ah, there it is. So Andy's bracket goes like so.
Wait,
Once
time
in the
out.
se-
Oh,
what?
Never mind.
What? What?
Nothing.
What?
I was going to ask that. Never mind. Just go.
All right, whatever. So since it's taking forever to load, I'll start with my bracket. My bracket, I said New England will beat the Tennessee Titans.
Idiot.
The Houston Texans will beat Buffalo. So Houston will go into Baltimore, where Baltimore will destroy them. New England will go into Kansas City, where it'll be a tough fought game, but Mahomes will come out on top. The number 1 and number 2 seeds meet in the AFC Championship.
But wait, how can Mahomes beat Brady if it's Brady in the playoffs and Belichick don't know what to do to beat Mahomes?
I'm just saying it's fucking
Playoff.
Tennessee. Kansas City then beats Lamar Jackson. And
Ryan
moves-
Tannehill's better than Patrick Mahomes.
and moves into
This year.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Minnesota
Asterisk.
loses against New Orleans. New Orleans then goes on to play Green Bay. Seattle beats Philly. Seattle plays San Francisco and loses. New Orleans goes into Lambeau and beats the Packers. The Saints then beat the Niners and go to the Super Bowl to face Kansas City, where Breeze goes out with a Lombardi and retires a champion.
I thought we weren't giving our complete Super Bowl predictions.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I said we were.
Yeah, we're gonna lay our dicks out on the table and see if we're right or not.
I was going to say, I thought you
Have a
said we were going to wait
measuring
until
contest.
the week
Jesse's
before the
comes
Super
up a
Bowl.
little bit lacking.
Surprising.
I agree.
Okay,
right.
just real
I
quick
can go
while
through
you're-
mine off memory if you want me to.
I have Andy's up here right now, so I'm going to go through it real quick. Tennessee beats New England in the wild card matchup. Moving on to play Baltimore. Buffalo wins against Houston and goes on and plays Kansas City. He then has Baltimore winning against Titans and Buffalo beating the Chiefs. Then
At least it's
Baltimore
not playing the
moving.
Patriots.
Yeah, well, Baltimore beating Buffalo and moving to the Super Bowl. In the NFC side, he has Minnesota beating the Saints, and then Seattle beating the Eagles. Both the 6 and 5 seed are moving on. He has Seattle playing Green Bay and winning, and then San Francisco beating the Vikings. He then has the 5th seed Seattle Seahawks beating the Niners and going to the Super Bowl to play Baltimore, where Baltimore then wins. So that is Andy's lovely bracket.
A lot of crack being smoked.
Hey, I can't be right at everything. Come on, if I win everything, nobody's gonna watch.
I swear to God, if you win this, I will just beat your face. Let's take a look. I got Jace's bracket. I got Kevin's bracket. All right. So, Jace, it's weird. I have to zoom in and pull it and zoom in. So, Jace, you have...
Much like
he's talking about trying to find his penis.
I just said that. Shut up.
Fuck.
He has Tennessee. Jace, you have Tennessee beating New England, moving on to play Baltimore. You have Houston beating Buffalo, moving on to play KC. Then you have Baltimore winning, and then Houston beating KC. Nobody believes in KC right now. In the AFC Championship, with Baltimore winning and going to the Super Bowl. You then have New Orleans beating Minnesota and Seattle beating Philly. Seattle then plays San Francisco and loses. New Orleans plays Green Bay and loses. So it is a San Francisco-Green Bay NFC Championship with San Francisco going to the Super Bowl. Rematch of the Har Bowl, and Baltimore wins again. For Jace. Now, Kevin, on the other hand, let's see. Burp. Burp. Okay. Kevin has Tennessee beating, or no. Oh, I'm on mine again. Why am I on mine again? Tell me. I opened mine again. Kevin, go ahead. You said you have yours memorized.
Yeah, I had Tennessee beating New England and moving on to face Baltimore. I have Houston over Buffalo going into Kansas City. I had Baltimore beating Tennessee, Kansas City beating Houston, and then Baltimore beating Kansas City to go into the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Then I had the New Orleans Saints taking out the Minnesota Vikings. The Seattle Seahawks beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So in the divisional round, the 49ers would take on Seattle and win at home, and the Saints would beat the Packers at Lambeau Field. And then in the championship game, I have San Fran over New Orleans in Santa Clara, and then the 49ers will go ahead and Jimmy G will be hoisting Lombardi while Nick Bosa is hoisting Lamar Jackson's lungs that he rips from his fucking chest. Fuck you, Uncle Bill.
Bias button.
You just hate him because you got to play him twice a year.
You hate
him
those
because
are
you
our
hate him.
brackets. I will be posting all of those brackets for on our Facebook page so everybody can see them. Let us know what you think. See what your thoughts are, who's dumb and who's not. And also we'll be, talking about every playoff game come next week. We should be able to move back to Wednesday. Stop making plans on Wednesday, Andy.
It was New Year's Day.
Who does shit on New Year's Day? They
really.
do it on New Year's
Yeah, honestly.
Day, you lay on the couch all day and eat ice
from your
cream.
hangover.
Yeah, that's all you do. How dare you?
Yeah,
I'm a Spartan.
Anyhow,
you guys are pussies.
I didn't do anything because I was sick. So,
just want to go through this real quick. Andy's done just further proof. Andy's a dipshit. I've got the spreads here for this weekend. They're giving the Bills 2.5 points in Houston. They're giving the Texans 5.5, or the Titans, 5.5 in Foxborough. The Vikings are getting 7.5 in New Orleans, and they're only giving the Seahawks a slight advantage. They're actually making Philly the underdog at home with 1.5.
Okay, well, Kevin Robinson's here to tell you to go ahead and hammer the fucking Seattle beating that goddamn spread.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Seahawks I'd take that one, and the Vikings. I think there's a chance they could lose by less than a touchdown. So I would be comfortable taking that one.
Yeah.
7.5 points to give. That's being pretty generous. They're pretty.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Pretty hell bent on a blowout.
Yeah, they'll win by less than that too.
Yep. All right. Well, anything else to add right here at the end?
Yeah, I do have one quick thing. I wanted to give a shout out, even though I know nobody from there would ever be watching this for any reason whatsoever. But the Pat McAfee show has taken a step up. They are now a CBS Sports Radio affiliate. He's taking over the 10 to noon slot on CBS Sports Radio, along with being on the Zone in Westwood 1. So the brand.
I would love
for the brand,
to
baby.
hear
Punters are people
Pat
too.
McAfee comment, shout out, whatever, our show at some point in time. It would make my boner explode.
Don't do it. I love him because he's a Pittsburgh boy, but he's gonna listen to this and he's gonna put it on Twitter and be like, "Hey, everybody, go listen to these dumb fucks."
And you know what? We'll get so much publicity from that. We'll be like,
publicity
I don't
is good.
I don't,
good or bad.
Until they go back and hear all the
good publicity.
Until they hear all the gay slurs and Kevin talk about Kelly Stafford's tits.
Cheese tits.
I did not mention Kelly Stafford's large, voluptuous, scrumptious titties once in this podcast.
Until now.
You've never once been within 10 miles of Kelly Stafford, but she's going to file.
I don't even know what Kelly Stafford looks like. If I'm being completely totally honest with you,
I don't. Yeah.
Andy said she was hot. I just went with it.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on our 20th episode of All the Rage Sports Podcast. We really enjoyed this whole season. We have a whole
It's been lovely.
It's been lovely. We have a whole lot of new stuff we're going to be planning for next year.
We're not going to squander any of our opportunities.
Fucking hate all of you. We got a whole mess of shit we're going to plan out this year. This summer, we're going to meet up and talk about some things we can do to improve and make better. So I'm just
new
hoping
hosts and commentators.
new analysts. Colt McCord is going to come on the show, and we're gonna have some fun stuff in store.
He's probably going to be looking for a job.
Everybody coming and listening to us this year, it's been fantastic. So we're going to keep it going throughout the playoffs here. So stay tuned. Always visit our webpage, All the Rage Sports at webley.com.
Yeah, Uncle Bill, make sure you do all these things. You're the only one listening. So.
Yeah, you're the only one.
Yeah.
And then you can always see us on Spotify, iTunes, and on our Transistor page as well. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week on All the Rage Sports. And what?
I don't know what Transistor is.
Transistor's our host site, you jagwagon.
Oh, well, fuck you, Jesse.
That's where I post the audio.
Fuck you, San Diego.
The NFL already did that.
Yes. Go ahead. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, even though Jace doesn't do anything on Twitter like he's supposed to, and Andy probably doesn't do anything on Instagram. I have to make a
new Twitter account, like I said, because ours is suspended.
No, it's not.
Away.
I am logged into it on my phone.
You can't do anything from it. I've tried.
You're full of shit.
All right, fuck you.
So basically, Jace has a good excuse for why he's not doing Twitter because
he tried to log into it once and then fucked up.
No, I log in and it doesn't even bring up our picture anymore. It just says you have been suspended due to violation of terms or something like that, and it won't let me do shit.
Man, I must have linked it to my Pornhub account.
Dushan Mandick.
Dushan Mandick, shut up.
All right, thanks everybody for joining us, and as always, rage on.
Fuck you, Justin.
And fuck Kevin.
Fuck Kevin too.
Fuck you, Jace. Leprechaun.